What's up, guys? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps you with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to touch on a little subject with a NFL head coach who's dealing with some dealership problems. We're also going to talk about standard thing that we always talk about, super layoffs at some of these automaker factories. And last but not least, we're going to, of course, tackle the CDK Cyberattack and where they are right now. All right, let's jump straight into it. So, first up, we're going to check out a little story that Automotive News put out about our second favorite NFL team, the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, and how their new head coach, Antonio Pierce, is going through a little thing with his ownership or prior ownership of some dealerships. So, couldn't find any video, so it's going to be a reader. So just bear with me as always. Okay. NFL coach Antonio Pierce owes $28 million after dealerships collapse. The wife of Las Vegas Raiders coach Antonio Pierce filed for bankruptcy after Nissan and Hyundai tried to garnish his wages over loan defaults at dealerships he co-owned. This is from July 3rd, which is today, and it's written by Nick Bunkley. All right, so the financing arms of Nissan and Hyundai have judgments against Antonio Pierce, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, totaling nearly $28 million in connection to his partial ownership of a dealership group that collapsed in 2018. Pierce's wife, Jocelyn Pierce, cited those liabilities in filing for bankruptcy protection in June, saying she was trying to protect her assets and those of the marital community, according to documents obtained by The Athletic. Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation, which holds a $23 million judgment against Antonio Pierce, and Hyundai Capital America, which says it owed $4.5 million, have attempted to garnish the former NFL linebacker's paychecks from the Raiders, the bankruptcy filing said. Pierce, who had a 9-year playing career with the Washington Redskins and New York Giants, became the Raiders' interim coach in October when the team fired Josh McDaniels and got the job full-time in January. The terms of Pierce's contract haven't been made public. Jocelyn Pierce said he was persuaded to invest in the dealerships in the 2010s after the stores went into default and closed. Nissan and Hyundai got judgments against their loans guarantors, including Antonio Pierce. Despite his role as a mere passive investor with no oversight or management of the business's affairs, Mr. Pierce was asked to sign various documents. The bankruptcy filing said, although the debtor had no direct knowledge of the events, personal guarantees were later produced bearing Mr. Pierce's name. When several of the businesses defaulted on their loans, the lenders obtained judgments against the businesses and Mr. Pierce as a guarantor. The dealerships, whose other owners were auto retailing veteran Michael Saperto and fellow ex-linebacker Jesse Armstead, included 2 All-Pro Nissan locations in Michigan, as well as Nissan, Hyundai, and Kia stores in Pennsylvania. Lawsuits filed in 2018 by Nissan and Hyundai captives accused the stores of selling nearly 500 vehicles out of trust, meaning the floor plan loans for those vehicles weren't repaid. The Nissan, Hyundai, and Kia dealerships closed within months of the suits being filed, and the ownership trio sold a Honda store in Pennsylvania to Lithia Motors the following year. All right. So, okay. So it looks like they have my man Antonio Pierce down bad. Looks like some really bad business dealings on his part. No LLC to cover his ass. Looks like he signed on the dotted line on a couple of these contracts, which made him the guarantor or the guy that owes the money for these lawsuits. Horrible situation. Kind of feel like him and Jesse Armstead got gypped. Got sold on the idea that they were buying 5 dealerships with great potential, and found out that the lawsuits came shortly after they gained ownership. So hopefully they he does get the bankruptcy filings, and then hopefully he gets a um, some financial assistance or a financial advisor. Because damn, bro, I mean, wow, it's crazy. Because in this day and age, with all of the memes and all of the, I don't know, notifications that we get on the internet and online talking about LLCs and owning your own business and all of the great people out there speaking or helping with the idea of owning your own businesses, you think he would have the knowledge to protect himself from this situation. But obviously he didn't. So we just hope for the best. Go Raiders. All right, let's move on. So next up, of course, we step into something we do pretty regular, and we always hate when we do it, but we talk about layoffs because they're consistent. The layoffs with these automotive dealers, specifically Stellantis, have been nonstop all the time, every time, and it's been crazy. So just jump into it. Another set of layoffs at a Stellantis plant. All right, so this is going to be another reader, of course, from our favorite automotive news. This puppy came out yesterday, written by Vince Bond Jr. Stellantis lays off 1,600 for temporary shift cut at Warren truck plant. Let's just jump into it. Stellantis said its Warren truck assembly plant near Detroit will be down to one daily production shift for at least the next month, resulting in a temporary layoff of about 1,600 workers. At least it's temporary. The plant, which had been running on two shifts, builds the Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneers SUVs and the Ram 1500 Classic pickup. Stellantis is adjusting the operating pattern at its Warren truck assembly plant to align production with sales, the automaker said in a statement. The plant will run one shift for the month of July. The company will continue to monitor demand and take the necessary action to balance inventories. U.S. sales of the Wagoneer more than doubled in the first quarter to 13,131, while Grand Wagoneer sales rose 74% to 3,550. The July 1st layoffs follow a series of job cuts in recent months that have affected supplemental, hourly, and salaried workers. The automaker laid off 199 full-time workers in April at its plant in Sterling Heights, Michigan, that builds the Ram 1500. Stellantis also cut 2% of its U.S. engineering, technology, and software jobs by 400 people in March, citing unprecedented uncertainties and heightened competitive pressures around the world. They're losing market share. The automaker laid off 341 supplemental workers at the Toledo, Ohio plant that makes the Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator in March. It also let 239 workers go at a Detroit parts sequencing facility near its Jeep Grand Cherokee assembly plants. Stellantis also said Tuesday that its Toledo South plant, which builds the Gladiator, will be down beginning July 8th to align production with sales, retool the plant for a new model, and observe a week for summer vacation. Production resumes August 19th. Stellantis said employees will be reassigned to support Jeep Wrangler production at the Toledo North plant during this period, except during their summer vacation the week of August 5th. All right, so. And once again, we're talking about layoffs, and it continues. And it goes to my whole idea that they're preparing to sell Stellantis. They're taking way too many losses. The losses they took as part of the UAW deal, all of the layoffs they've taken, all the market share that they've lost over the past year has really brought them to a crawl. Think about all the executives that are jumping ship from Stellantis. We've talked about so many over the last month or so. And we expect more to come down. So I think really the play is to just make Stellantis look as weak as possible so that they can get a buyer. Because Stanley, you would think they would try to make themselves look stronger, but I think they're just making themselves look weaker so that people will start throwing money at them to buy it out. Just like, our previous story where, the idea that, if you're great at something like some NFL players that you could turn some struggling dealerships around and make a good profit, and it turned around and bit them in the ass. So I think in this situation, Stellantis is just showing that they're weak. Same situation, I think. Stellantis is showing that they're weak and that they're going to be up for sale because they need new management and they need somebody else fresh to help them build from all the losses that they've taken. So that's just my feeling. I hate to say that, but it's my feeling. Stellantis is taking so many losses as of late, from top to bottom. So many losses, and this is just added to another one. All right, so one more thing we're going to talk about, and it's what we've been talking about forever, is the CDK Cyberattack. Now, I was told by multiple dealerships that I work with that, they CDK is up running fantastically. Everybody's happy. They're going through the processes of putting up the information that they had to do, written information. They're putting it into a computer system. It's running smoothly. Man, they lying. I know they lying. It's an uphill battle because I got one truth teller, and he told me it's an uphill battle. Their system has gone down a couple times since it's come back up. But let's go ahead. We're gonna read what Automotive News said about what's going on, and then I'm gonna give my 2 cents, and then we're gonna get up out of here so y'all can start your holiday week or weekend. All right, of course, Automotive News. We love it. This is from today. It's by Mark Homer. CDK restores DMS service to most. Rebuilding trust comes next. All right. 13 days after CDKGlobal Cyberattack led to a massive shutdown of the dealership management system provider's software for thousands of its customers, Headquarter Automotive in Florida received some good news. On July 1st at roughly 4:10 p.m., texts and emails to Headquarter, a CDK customer with operations in the Orlando and Miami areas, announced that its core DMS was finally back online. There was definitely cheering, COO Judy Farkas Sierra said. CDK of Austin, Texas, and Hoffman Estates, Illinois, said July 2nd it had restored core DMS access to most of the 15,000 dealerships affected by June 19th ransomware event, 2 days ahead of the timeline it had outlined just the day before. But as the remaining dealerships regained their DMS capabilities, far more work remained. Restoration efforts are continued for other CDK programs and regular third-party plugins and integrations. As of July 3rd, resolving those issues remains a work in progress that could take several weeks. CEO Brian McDonald had defended CDK's response to the text and said in a June 28 open letter to dealership customers that the company is heads down and focused. Is heads down and focused on bringing you back to business as usual. An investigation into attacks is continuing, but CDK, the DMS leader with roughly 50% of the market, hasn't yet publicly disclosed if dealership, automaker, or customer data was at risk or stolen. A return to normal could take considerable time, and CDK is likely going through a complex process to get there, cybersecurity experts told Automotive News. All right. There's no such thing as a typical when it comes to cyber attacks, said Eric Nakbar, CEO of cybersecurity firm Helion Technologies. CDK's system is large and I'm guessing complex. Their software is based on old technology. If, for example, the attackers exploit a vulnerability in some old software code, that could take days to track down, access, patch, test, and bring back online. The process can be painstaking, Nakbar said, and often requires third-party expertise, an element CDK utilized to identify and assess where the attack is taking place. About a third of businesses impacted by cyber attacks and data breaches take a month or more to recover, and that number keeps rising according to Adam Crowell, Vice President of Legal and Corporate Development at KPA, a provider of compliance software and services for more than 15,000 U.S. auto dealerships. He said CDK's recovery is trending similarly. While the scale and impact of the CDK cyber incident has been disastrous, recovery from the cyber attacks have followed similar timelines, Crowell said. He said it's tough to evaluate CDK's response because there are still many unknowns about the attack. Even if CDK is able to restore systems access to dealers this week, a full recovery that includes restoring all data and transactions to a pre-attack steady state may take longer, Crowell said. Once affected, dealerships are back online with their CDK DMS. They will have clearer picture of their damages, and Crowell said they could likely solidify any insurance claims. He encouraged impacted dealerships to continue to track any extra and out-of-ordinary costs associated with the attack, along with lost income. Dang right. When it becomes known whether customer data was stolen, CDK said it will handle a Federal Trade Commission safeguards rule requirement for dealers mandating they notify the agency no more than 30 days after discovering a security breach involving access to unencrypted information for at least 500 customers. Why at least 500? What about the little guy? Rebuilding systems and trust. Beyond bringing its systems back online, CDK must rebuild trust in its DMS and security as its dealership customers resume their routines. The company faces a growing number of lawsuits alleging it failed to protect customers and dealership employees, with the cyber attacks putting their personal information at risk. Its competitors, Cox Automotive, DealerTrack, Reynolds and Reynolds, Techion among them, are likely ready to take calls from disgruntled dealers who decide to switch. Yeah. Dealerships were frustrated and overwhelmed as they scrambled to maintain business as usual without their CDK system and related software. They largely succeeded in addressing the shutdown challenge by turning to pen and paper and temporary third-party software workarounds. Sales continued, but at slower pace, dinging June tallies. Slower sales related to the cybersecurity attacks also affected 5 or 6 large, publicly traded dealership groups. Ashbury Automotive Group, AutoNation Group 1, Lithia Motors, and Sonic Automotive are CDK customers, and they warned their upcoming second quarter earnings reports will show a negative impact from the cyber attacks. Penske Automotive Group said it does not use CDK's DMS at franchise dealerships in the US or the UK, but does for its premier truck group. Thousands of dealerships contracted with CDK also missed their June financial statement filings. Most automakers granted impacted dealerships an extension ranging from a few days to a couple of weeks. Retailers, meanwhile, wasted no time trying to reset their operations as CDK restored their DMS service. Todd Zott, dealer partner at Zott Auto Group in the Detroit area and president of the Detroit Auto Dealers Association, said his CDKGlobal DMS was back in operation at all 5 of his Michigan stores on the afternoon of July 2nd. His staff is entering all the transactions they did by pen and paper during the shutdown into the DMS, and the process is going smoothly, he said. Zott said he's still waiting for CDK to restore other applications his store uses for customer relations management, computerized vehicle registration, and online service scheduling. The CDK shutdown was very inconvenient, Zott said, but his staff was able to maintain operations and exceeded his group's goal of selling 500 new and used vehicles in June. His stores sell Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Ford, and Toyota vehicles. Zott has been complying with safeguard rule. As a result of the CDK shutdown, he accelerated his regular schedule to test his dealerships' electronic systems to make sure they are secure while training his staff to prevent phishing. Things like that we've already been doing. We're just making sure we're doing it now because there's a lot of activity, particularly on the phishing side, Zott said. It's going to take us a little bit, a week or two, to get all these transactions in and get these integrations up before we're totally back to normal, but we're on that path. Although the staff at Bayer Auto Group of Falls Church, Virginia did not receive notice, they arrived at the office July 1st to find their CDK DMS was back online. COO John Altman said, however, the group still couldn't access its customer relationship management system or use its third-party integrations as usual. The first day back online, the group with 8 dealerships in Virginia was scrambling to make a plan to get all the deals and service orders from the outage into the system and accounted for. There is some exasperation, Altman said. I can see on the employees' faces that they're just looking at this monumental task. But at least they know where they are at this point. Now that the staff's anxiety about the indefinite outage is dissipating, the group hopes to be mostly back to normal after the July 4th holiday, he added. Todd Edwards, co-owner of Edwards Auto Group of Council Bluffs, Iowa, which has 9 dealerships in Nebraska and Iowa, has shared updates along the way since the first attacks on June 19. Edwards told Automotive News via email that he's glad they're close to functioning normally again. We have one store online with others expected today, Edwards said. We're doing accounting first, but we roll out normal operations to the stores. Over at headquarters, the focus is on moving ahead as efficiently as possible. Now the headquarters DMS is back online. Sierra said colleagues and employees are figuring out how to best input repair orders and invoices complete on paper during the crisis. We're going to be doing a lot of work during the July 4 weekend, Sarah said in advance of the holiday. Sarah added she hopes CDK and the industry at large would learn from the cyber attacks with a goal of reducing the likelihood of future incidents. One way might be for dealerships to diversify the kinds of software to handle DMS tasks rather than using a single provider. This is a feature that we all need to be ready for, just like we prepare for hurricanes in Florida. We need to be ready for another cyber event to happen, Sarah said. We can't allow them to cripple us. All right, my friend, great stuff. So it looks like the majority of these dealerships are back up online. Hurrah. That's fantastic. I'm happy. It helped me out. The dealerships that I deal with, they're getting our parts in on time now. We can use our OPS system to order parts. We don't have to call anymore. We don't have to send emails. So it's a good thing that everything's back in line. But the bigger thing still is the question on if all of or any information, personal information of yours or anybody else's, was taken during the cyber attack. And they're not saying. They don't know, or they're not saying. And we don't know because they're not saying. And that's the most important thing now. Now that the systems are up and running, now that they either paid it or didn't pay it, we don't know. We still don't know if they paid the ransom or not. We still don't know if the, ransom guys or the cyber attackers are still have their fingers in CDK. And that's the fear. So everybody who's using CDK and who's happy their systems are back up and running still have to be afraid that their CDK can go down, the cyber attack can go on, and they have to be afraid that personal information from their store was leaked or stolen to be used somewhere else. It's not over, my friends. This is just the beginning. And of course, there's still stores down, but the bigger thing at this point is the simple fact that lots of people's personal information could have been stolen at that time, and they don't know, and they're not saying. And once they do know, it's going to be a whole nother situation where they're going to have to report it to the federal government, go through all these rules and processes. So then, of course, the federal government's going to have to investigate the systems themselves, which could take some time as well. So what I do see is, horribly for CDK Global, they're going to lose some market share of the automotive software industry. There's going to be a lot of disgruntled guys that are going to go over to Reynolds, go over to Dealer Track. Not bad systems. CDK is just a really good software system. But like they said, these people are sitting there and they're waiting. You know that they've sent out notifications to all these dealerships talking about the upgrades that they have for their softwares. You know they're sending out salesmen to these dealerships to go through these systems because they're at a point where CDK Global's weak and they're going to attack. So all these dealerships, they got to expect that Dealer Track and Reynolds and Cox Automotive are going to be right knocking on their door trying to get their business. And some of them are going to give them their business. And it's just going to hurt CDK Global, and they're going to lose market share. But, of course, my friends, the most important is how it affects you. And how it affects you is that if you were a person that went to one of these dealerships, bought you a car, had your oil changed, gave them your credit card to pay for something, your information might be out there. And we just don't know yet. All right, my friends. It is a beautiful July 3rd. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, so you guys stay safe, have fun. Usually I'm in the end at this time, but I'm stayed in California. Y'all burning up over there, so I'm cool. It's nicer here where I live, so I'm chilling, but I'll be over there next month. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like and share, subscribe to the channel. Tell me if there's anything more that I can do, any more information I can provide. We're going to start our music show. We're going to do all these new things. So we're just going to start branching out and doing as much as we can so we can get as much information out as we can out there. And I'm out. Peace.